The Gentleman is written and directed by Guy Ritchie and stars quite a big cast. You got Matthew McConaughey, Charlie Hunnam, uh,
Hugh
Mark
Grant.
Strong, Colin Farrell, and Hugh Grant, and among others. And this tells the story about Matthew McConaughey's character, who's an American drug kingpin, who's basically looking to sell his company. And it's kind of like hard to really go into detail because the movie's kind of all over the place, but pretty much there's guys that come in that try to want his company and try to basically get on in on his actions and stuff.
That it comes to several people after his company. One wants to buy it, one that wants to see it fall, and then you have one who wants to blackmail it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and it
that one.
deals yeah, and it deals with also with a subplot involving Hugh Grant's character, who's a private investigator who's trying to basically get involved with getting the story around his Matthew McConaughey's business and stuff, and he approaches Charlie Hunnam's character to tell him about all the details going on, and it pretty much becomes a lot of kind of twists and turns as the movie pretty much goes along, where there's basically different truths and then there's lies that kind of go back and forth between some of our
It's
characters.
kind of it's kind of like movies like Knives Out, but without having that one place setting. It's
Yeah,
just like who's like gonna blackmail who's gonna have like the bad in the end. So
yeah. Now here's a little backstory. Now this movie was directed by Guy Ritchie, and I've been kind of like sporadic as far as seeing some of his movies. Like I've seen most of Snatch, but I had to fully finish it. Before I watched of it, I really enjoy it. And the guy has been known for like having quite a lot of talent with different genres too, over the years, especially with the Sherlock Holmes movies. And then he did have some downfall with some movies. Like I did watch
But
parts of
here's
this
the
movie
thing
called
about Guy Ritchie. Here's the thing about Guy Ritchie. He's considered like, as far as like the crime genre, he's basically the Scorsese of the crime genre. He's been praised for that. That's what got him well known.
Yeah,
Like movies like
yeah,
Snatch
because
for
his
that.
biggest, yeah, he got really big famous with his late '90s film, Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels. So he started
That's
out
what
doing crime movies, and then
that's
he
what he's
started doing,
known for. But then he started wanting. He's like Tarantino and all them, but then unlike Tarantino and certain other directors who work really well on their own, he decided he wanted to branch more corporate Hollywood. So he started taking on big franchises like Sherlock Holmes, Aladdin, King Arthur. I wasn't really a big fan of any of the Sherlock Holmes films. They weren't horrible. I just couldn't get into them. King Arthur was fucking shit, and Aladdin, he pretty much had no creative control over that one, and he
yeah,
couldn't do. In fact, Aladdin is the only titled name that's connected to Guy Ritchie that you will not know that Guy Ritchie did, because he literally was told to shut up and shoot and do
yeah,
as you told.
yeah.
Yeah,
And there is another film that came out some years ago that I actually heard wasn't too bad. That was well, he was going for more of a blockbuster, but it was kind of like not too well. It didn't do too well in theaters. And it was that one called The Man from Uncle, which I actually heard was has a cult following. So there's been
yeah.
some movies that he's done that's kind of out of his norm, but he's mainly known for his crime like British crime movies and stuff. And
I think after failures of trying to be more Hollywoodish up in that level with corporate production companies, I think after the Aladdin, it kind of opened his eyes and said, "Yeah, I better go back to my old roots because that's what I get
yeah,
praised for." So, and
yeah,
the way he was treated on Aladdin, anyways. First of all, Aladdin was a bad choice for him, anyways. 'Cause it's his style does not fit that, and I knew it was going to be a fucking train wreck doing that. Even though it wasn't a bad movie, it was stale, and
well, yeah,
he really had no
the movie
control.
made it.
So he had no
Yeah,
control over it. So they pretty much told him, shut up and shoot. So they did that, and upon now he finally got to this movie, and we suddenly didn't get too much marketing surprisingly, for this film. We
No,
got
this.
your just standard marketing. That was about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is one of those movies that is actually quite going a little quite under the radar, I think, from like certain venues because the movie is still hitting big in theaters, but I think that it had such a quiet marketing behind it that it kind of was basically late to the game, so to speak, even though it was kind of
It was
promoted.
the fact that it came out and it didn't even outdo movies that were already been out 3 weeks already kind of shows you, the real. I mean, first of all, shouldn't this is when I saw this movie, this did not feel like a January release.
No,
This felt
it
like
didn't.
September, and I was kind of shocked going in and seeing something like this in January. So the dump month and lack of marketing, I just think played a big toll on it because I was in the theater and there was like only one person inside the theater.
Yeah. And
It
once
was a
again,
pretty
like Bad Boys for Life, it's a film that really should not have been released in January, but much like Bad Boys for Life, we found another fucking great movie of the year. And what do you
yeah.
know? This movie turned out to be a lot of fun, and I was already kind of like going from the trailers. I figured it'd be kind of fun, like little crime movie and stuff. But
It
man, this
looked
was
like it was
even
going to be
better
like
than I thought.
uh, it looked like it was going to be a whole lot more fun version of Knives Out. So it was kind of getting me, hyped and a little hyped to see it, and also the great cast they had. And I'll tell you this: upon seeing this film, it was really, really, really good. Holy shit! It was entertaining as
Yeah.
hell, and it was phenomenally written too, and the
Yes.
cast. Oh my god, everybody was awesome in this film. So getting into my pros, I will say that Matthew McConaughey and the rest of the cast were phenomenal. And I got to give praises to some of the people that, I mean, you expect Matthew McConaughey obviously to do good, but there's other people I like to praise in this film, and probably one of them that you probably wouldn't I like actually hear about because you really only know him for romantic comedy. Hugh Grant, he was freaking great in this film. In fact, this is probably my favorite film he's ever done.
Yeah, he was actually really great, and it's been really been a while since I've really seen him in like anything really big for a long time. And
Yeah.
out of the movies I've seen him with, yeah, I think I agree. This is definitely one that I think probably is my favorite role of his because he was not only hilarious, but just like he just had so much like to his
He
character
kind of
that you can never tell.
he kind of remind me of Knives Out with what's his name?
Daniel Craig.
Daniel Craig. He kind of had like that whole vibe without the accent, of course, but he had his own like unique twist to that character, and it was. I'll tell you, it was really good. And Charlie Hunnam was like one of my favorites in this. One of the other favorites of this film. You get the vibe that he might be some side character, pussyfied or something. He's actually a badass in this film,
Yeah,
and
yeah, and that's the other thing too. I gotta That's the other thing too, because I'm glad to see Charlie Hunnam has really got himself in a lot better movies lately. Because I actually do find the guy pretty underrated as an actor, and ever since I've seen him in Sons of Anarchy and even some other movies and stuff, I'm glad to see that he still manages to be like, well, he's not really what they consider like really leading man as far as Hollywood movies go anymore. But whenever he plays like these kind of like supporting roles and stuff, even with those, he still pulls it off. And
it was great
I
to
like
see.
just the
It was great to see Guy Ritchie actually take Charlie Hunnam and fix what he fucked up last time with King Arthur, because that
yeah.
way
Even though
Charlie's Hunnam.
even though I enjoyed his performance in King Arthur, it's great to see that he's in a better Guy Ritchie movie, and he really shows because even though he has that kind of like persona in this movie where he's kind of like the more soft-spoken type guy, but there's actually a point where, not going to spoil anything, there's a point where you fuck with him and he will do fucking something to you. So there
Yeah.
is actually a great sense of
Yeah. And another
yeah.
performance praise I got to give is Colin Farrell. Ever since I watched him in Horrible Bosses, which he had me laughing till my ribs were almost broke in that film, here he comes again as playing really kind of like a side plot character, but when he's on screen, he's fucking hilarious, especially when he's trying to explain to Charlie Hunnam's character about this Asian guy they have in the trunk, and his name is Fuck.
With a PH.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah. He has that kind of funny mentality in this film, especially when he's running like this kind of like karate ring thing going on where there's a bunch of kids that work for him, but he's also training them. He's kind of like a father figure, and the duels he has with them and how they fuck up and get him in dilemmas and shit, it was fucking hilarious too.
Yeah. But I also, yeah, exactly, man. I love Colin Farrell in this, and he was one of the like every one of every one of the like the characters in this movie, they had such a great personality to them that I didn't really have like really much of a favorite. They were all equally favorite in my opinion.
Yeah,
Like,
they're all favorite to me. Hell, like Matthew McConaughey, he was fucking menacing in this film, which I liked. And I mean, even that Asian dude, the one who he actually isn't the guy named Fuck. His name is Dry Eye, and that guy
yeah,
actually really fucking good,
yeah, he
surprisingly.
was
And I didn't
great. He's the
know
guy
what his
from
name was.
I remember hearing about him. He was that guy from that movie Crazy Rich Asians, which I hear is pretty good. So he's the guy from that one. But yeah, he was great, and I got to really appreciate the story because the way that the movie goes back and forth with them set up the different businesses and stuff with McConaughey's like setup and everything, and then the fact that the movie kind of really just spends a majority where it's Charlie Hunnam and Hugh Grant pretty much like mind gaming each other, and you see twists and turns about who's telling the truth and if they're making up shit because they're telling each other
The
like
film,
things
the
that are really
story
happening
is very
or if it's fiction.
the story is very Guy Ritchie. And what I mean by that is if you're familiar with a lot of his work, especially when it's him doing his own thing, he has a style where he other directors that try this fail miserably, but I feel like Guy Ritchie and Quentin Tarantino are the only two that really know how to conquer it. It's the kind of editing where it feels like the movie's really misconjointed, but they do it
Mm-hmm.
on purpose because they build so much twists. Like in this film, they build like freaking dozens of twists. And even when the one twist is revealed, it just feels like there's more and more and more. And then, like, just when you thought it's finally over with, then Hugh Grant brings something up. It ain't all over. It's this, it's just like, just keeps on going. And I'll tell you right now that because of that, this editing was phenomenal. The way the structure of the story was perfectly made while it felt coherent, it was purposely done for a reason. I actually give it praise for that.
Yeah,
And
and
um, the way that I like the structure where Hugh Jackman or Hugh Grant and Charlie Hunnam are pretty much mostly narrating, talking about the story, and it's like they're writing it or they're writing their own. It's basically almost becomes like a point where it feels like Hugh Grant is making a script, and I'm not going to spoil anything more than that, but it's almost like he's like trying to
it's
change things and the plot changes. It's actually kind of clever.
yeah, I actually appreciate that. That I think is really fantastic writing on Guy Ritchie's part with the way that he went with that approach. And I also
Yeah.
got to enjoy the kind of like stuff that they get into with a lot of like there's actually some brutal shit that goes down later on in this movie that I was actually kind of surprised with. Like there's actually a point where someone, well, McConaughey's character, like you were saying, he comes to a point where he's like very intimidating in scenes, and it kind of makes me wish he could play like Two Face in a Batman movie in the future, you know? So,
Because Matthew
but
McConaughey is pretty much a drug lord that no one wants to fuck with. And when shit gets fucked with, and it's kind of weird how like how the dilemma started, and it's like one of those like where somebody who like kids or something start something and it just causes all out war. And it was
yeah,
really funny how it was just something that simple. Almost started a fucking World War III of drug lords. And
yeah, that's the
way
thing
it was
too.
done.
That's the other thing too I got to appreciate was that when the movie does dive into more of like its third act, I'll admit that the
Yeah.
movie did kind of have like some unpredictable moments that kind of pushed the stakes pretty fucking high, and I was like,
I know.
damn.
Yeah, I was actually surprised. Like that third act started going kind of towards darkness. And I was like,
Yeah.
"Whoa, that was a hell of a freaking twist!" And then whenever the comedy stuff kicks in, it actually is fucking hilarious, and it blends very well.
Yeah, exactly.
Like the part where you think somebody's gonna die, and then he walks in, and it looks like he's fucking.
Yeah.
Yeah, so shit like that is just made this film just pure entertaining. I was so glued to the screen, and I will say that uh, I thought on Guy Ritchie's part, I did kind of like the meta thing he went towards the end, where it's not. I don't know if I want to say it. I don't know if it's really a spoiler. It doesn't spoil the story itself, but he does this kind of clever meta where he has Hugh Grant's character pretty much technically is promoting a sequel, and I've never seen that done.
Yeah,
Like
well,
it's like it's self-aware by, first of all, the company that made the movie is called Miramax, and there's this thing where he kind of goes to Miramax trying to sell the script of what the dilemmas that went on, and it kind of promotes, like, hints a sequel. That's actually, I've never seen that done in a film ever. The whole
yeah.
meta thing.
It almost kind of did what kind of Deadpool did with its whole self-referential humor, the way it was kind of promoting it. I was like, that's actually pretty fucking funny, clever.
Yeah,
But yeah,
that ending had me laughing when he did that, when Hugh
yeah,
Grant tried that. But other than that, I mean, that's all we could really say. If I had any cons, there is this one part where in the third act where, like, everybody has like their own, like, catching on scheme to where everybody is able to stop something before it happens. There's a scene where these kids who actually stop something from happening with certain guys and Matthew McConaughey, while everybody else's situation made sense because we actually saw it happening. I kind of questioned how the kids knew Matthew was in that vehicle. You get what I'm
yeah.
saying?
It did kind
Yeah.
of feel convenient about certain things that happened. I was like, yeah, I probably could have. We probably could have had some more build up with that. But and yeah, and but other than that though, I really had a fucking blast with this movie, and so far
And
this,
currently, it's my too early to tell. I don't like judging a movie this early because we've only seen a couple, but it's currently my favorite film of the year so
yeah.
far. And
Well,
so,
this and yeah,
yeah, I highly recommend this movie. I'm giving this a phenomenal grade on the Film Freaks meter.
I am as well. I'm giving this a phenomenal grade on the Film Freaks meter. Once again, January, you're able to get two good movies out this month, and
I,
that really didn't belong in this month, but was able to pull it off. So,
uh,
for those of you who have also seen the Gentleman and some of other also Guy Ritchie's other movies, let us know in the comments below what you thought about it. And if you like what you see here, you can feel free to like and subscribe to our channel and check out some other reviews here and our website at filmfreaks.com. We'll be seeing you in our next review. We'll see you later.
uh,